Because I did it the first time, but then I kicked us out and back in. Now we should have everything.
Okay,
Is Susan on?
thank you. Susan's
She
on,
is.
but she's muted, I think, on her end.
No,
There we
here,
go.
I'm unmuted.
You know.
Very good. Can you call the roll?
Yes, I can. Commissioner Bashand,
Here.
Commissioner Conway,
Here.
Commissioner Ellis,
Here.
Commissioner Morris,
Here.
Commissioner Paskowitz, Commissioner Sadil,
Here.
Commissioner Lamette,
Here.
Commissioner McCormick, Chairman Zelik.
Do we have to formally promote our alternates to
Yes,
members?
yes,
Yes, we do.
you have to seat them.
Want to make a motion?
You do that, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we promote all our alternates to full voting members for tonight.
But Dave, I don't think it's a motion. I think you just promote them to, there you go.
How is that?
I like it. Okay, so
If
now
you
you
can
can
do it
do
right
the acceptance of minutes.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting.
I,
A second.
Second. Who got the second? Steve? Any discussion?
Corrections, anything? Nothing? Look good to me.
hearing none.
So moved.
Now you have to have the vote.
You say hearing none? Oh,
Dave, you say hearing none.
Hearing no objections.
Request the vote.
all in favor?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I'm a little rusty.
Aye.
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 Don't tell me that yet.
Any opposed? Sorry. Just.
Did Commissioner,
Feeding
now that I
you,
think about it.
feeding you.
did Commissioner Sedil vote? I missed it.
I'm here and approve, yes.
Very good, thank you.
All right, we still have the open public hearing from the last meeting, but that's application IW 24-13 to construct a 44-unit residential project and associated infrastructure within the upland review area at 220 Kitts Lane, 226 Kitts Lane, 226 Kitts Lane rear, and 244 Kitts Lane. The applicant contact is Patrick Snow, and the owner is Kitts Lane Apartments LLC.
Good evening, Commissioners of the record on Patrick Snow. See, it's my understanding that we did receive by Mr. Logan report this afternoon at 2 o'clock. One of us did not have a chance to review. Requesting that this public meeting open till the next meeting, given an extension to town staff to permission to do such.
I have received an email from Mr. Snow confirming our request for a voluntary extension of 1 month. And so we will, if it's acceptable to the commission, we can accept his gracious offer and
Should I make a motion?
vote to accept his offer and to continue the meeting to the December, I want to say it's 17, but let me get that right first.
Yeah, because we got a lot of stuff late in the day. I
Yes,
didn't have a chance
yeah.
to look at it. Mr. Logan's not here.
And
he's
it,
online.
He's online.
Oh.
However,
and it's
no
dense.
one has a chance to review it. Look at it.
Oh, hi, George.
So the date is 12/17. So the motion would be to continue the hearing to the next regular meeting on December 17th.
I make a motion to keep the public hearing open and continue the hearing till December 17th, the meeting on December 17th.
I'll second
Accept
that.
the
Can I
extension.
second? I just forget if the chairman can second things.
Yeah, I don't see why not. But I think John did anyway.
No, I said that we were accepting the extension.
So you the second?
Sure.
Yes, okay. Just for the record. Okay, so we have a motion. Do you have any discussion on the motion?
Any discussion?
No.
Any abstentions? People online?
Let me check.
We call the roll?
Is that normally something that has to be voted on? Chris?
To continue from one meeting to the next, yes.
Yeah.
Because what you have to, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, we're gonna continue this hearing to the next regular meeting and state the date, so it goes into the record that way. And that's what the motion was for. The only person online who is not one of the commissioners is
George
Mr.
Logan.
Coelho, who is one of Pat's employees. So there's nobody online to speak. So if there's no further discussion, you can move to the vote.
We got two Georges online.
Oh, how about that? Yeah. George, you're-
What happened to
George, you got
Andre?
two
Is he
images.
Still online?
One of them
Andre?
is moving.
Yes. I don't know why he's not up on the screen, but he
What
is
does that
on my
mean?
screen.
All in
Um,
favor?
Is all
Aye.
in favor?
On my,
Aye.
on my
Aye.
screen, Andreas is frozen, so he may be having internet
Aye.
issues.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you.
I'm trouble with the video, but I can hear you and see you, and so I vote yes, just so for the record, to extend.
Very good. So that is unanimous unless I'm missing somebody.
Sounds unanimous to me.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Oh, so we're not gonna have any discussions on this evening, on the, on
We have
the, on the
we have
application?
George's,
No, we just continued it.
his report.
That was what we
to
just
go
did.
through.
And the reason for that is the report from Mr. Logan came in this afternoon, right after lunch.
And it's huge.
And I haven't had a chance to read it, let alone.
Okay,
Pat's
I didn't know that we wouldn't have any discussion at all, but that's fine.
Well, okay, I suppose if there's a particular question, I don't know if this is correct as far as the parliamentarian rules, but if there's something you want to bring up, so Pat has Mr. Snow has an opportunity to address this.
I would think the extension would have came at the end of that, so if we already did the extension and if we already moved it ahead, then I guess we could wait.
Okay,
Keeps us out of trouble.
keep us out of
But I
trouble.
would say if there's a specific question, run it through staff, so give me a month. If you have something in your mind right now, you can talk about it. You would like to put that to the staff, this way I'll have a piece for the next month. to think
Yeah, I
about whatever
took-
that is.
I'll just say I took a walk on the property, so a little more familiar with it, so.
Okay. All right. Thanks for coming, Pat. All right. This brings us to public participation.
You know, do the public want to speak?
The public bailed out when Pat left.
Sure.
All we have left are commissioners, so yes, well, Susan as well. I believe we can,
So we're gonna save all that, we're not getting another round set of these plans, correct? Unless something changes in the next month.
I don't anticipate you getting a new set of plans between now and next month because we didn't discuss anything for them to modify. So this gives you a little extra time to study the plans you've got and
Could you,
George's report as well, which I left for you.
I didn't see George's report yet.
Did I not give you a set?
it's,
I have several sets here, so I can get you one too.
this
This
thing,
one? You didn't
you
get?
take this, I'll get it.
Nope.
Okay.
There you go, John.
So it's two
Oh, yeah, you got them right there.
well, no, he just gave it to me.
Oh, all right.
I'm generous.
Now you have something to read over Thanksgiving.
So there was no public participation, I guess.
Correct.
New business?
And
And we have no new business.
new business. So I guess we're up to agent communications.
Yeah, well, just
Old business.
Just for the matter of record, old business is kind of a null and void because it's the application is still open as a public hearing, but we
Right.
just need to say that. So it's for the recording, it's for posterity that we're passing over on the old business
We're
because
passing over in the old business because we're continuing it to the next,
because the public hearing hasn't been closed yet,
because the public hearing hasn't been closed yet, and we're continuing until December 17th.
17th, yes. Which,
Then another round of public participation.
and I still have no additional public.
Mr. Chairman, if I
So-
may.
Communications and reports.
Andreas has something. to
Andreas
say.
has something to say.
Yes, so on the 17th of December, we have to close the public hearing no matter what.
Correct.
That's the understanding. If people have any questions, that's it. I can recommend have the alternate meeting in early December and then give another, a special meeting 2 weeks prior. That would put us somewhere, the first week of December. I offer that if people to digest back and forth, the public another opportunity to respond and put public participation, let the public read, because I've been in that situation before where I was forced to close the public hearing and I got comments from the public. They didn't get a chance to allow extra time based on all the information we have. Given that this is a very large application here, I just offer that to the commission, giving us a second chance to have the questions answered versus we got to close it and then we have to deliberate on the 17th. We have to provide the applicant with our verdict at that time. That's my. So to
Actually,
avoid that,
you don't have to vote after you close the public hearing. You can continue the meeting portion until January. So you do have to close the public hearing.
Right,
In
but
December.
we don't go till the following.
It's your
we don't have to
choice.
vote.
You can vote or you can continue the public meeting to January and then vote.
But with the extension, that doesn't change things, or tonight would have been the last public hearing otherwise?
Tonight would have been the last public hearing if Mr. Snow hadn't agreed to the extension.
So
But it's in-
is there a limit on how many extensions?
It is either one or two. Let me just check the statute here.
I think you can get as many extensions as you want as long as the applicant acquiesces to that, but
It says,
I think.
and I'm gonna quote from section 8-7D of the Connecticut General Statutes. The petitioner or applicant may consent to one or more extensions of any period specified in this subsection, provided the total extension of all such periods shall not be for longer than 65 days, or may withdraw such petition, application, request, or appeal. So you can do an additional one, not to exceed the 65-day limit, and we'd have to look and see where the third Tuesday of January falls to figure out if that's 65 days or just beyond. If it's just beyond, then you'd have to set a special meeting, which is something I'm going to bring up under agent communications.
So if Andreas is correct on the next public hearing, if we close it at the next meeting,
Well,
then we can't bring up anything new after that
my interpretation of this is we can do one more extension.
if the applicant
If the
agrees,
applicant
asks for it,
accedes,
which,
correct.
which assumingly, or presumably he would, but.
I don't see
No, he doesn't have.
he
No, of
doesn't
course he
have
doesn't
to,
have to.
but I don't see an upside for him to not do it.
Yeah, that's what
So-
it seems like, so.
So just keep that in your minds. That's for next month, though.
So just to
Any
be
more
clear,
discussion on the old business?
no way, I'm just so to be clear, we have to close the public hearing on the 17th unless the applicant allows an extension.
I just read the statute and I think we can ask for him for one more extension, correct?
And is the applicant willing to do that? That's the.
I haven't had that, I have not had that discussion with him.
Yeah, and he left. He left the room.
Okay. So I
Yeah, it's
just
kind
say
of-
that
it's
then
kind
he
of
can
taking a chance,
refuse.
I guess.
He can refuse. I just want to warn you, the applicant.
Yes, he can.
refuse.
Right.
So that's why I suggested you have a special meeting, give us a little time of the holiday to read this and so give us a little cushion insurance. That's all I'm asking. It's just, the applicants say, no, that is not given because we have exceeded our base interval of time. So just keep that in mind. I just throw that out there to the commission. Give us a little extra time for question and answers. And if Mr. Logan is able to come to a special meeting, and that's also factored into it, just to keep the dialogue
he's-
going.
He's not here either anyway.
Yeah, we've lost George.
Yeah, so I don't think we'd be able to make that determination if we want George at the next meeting.
So I think, well, I can certainly call him during the week. That's not an issue. But I think at this point, the way to play it is to wait for the next session, the 17th, hear what there is to hear and decide at that time if you feel that you've digested the information enough, they answered the questions adequately, et cetera, and then decide if you want to ask him at that time for an additional extension to continue the hearing or play the cards that we've got dealt at that point.
Like you said, there's no upside to him not extending it if we felt it was necessary or we asked for it. Even though he is supposed to be the one that asks for it, but.
No, we can ask him.
We can ask. That I understand.
I'm okay with that.
Why did he resubmit all of this stuff?
There are minor changes to them.
Are they outlined in some way that I could, do I have to, go sheet by sheet and compare the two, or is there some sort of summary?
No, I would consider the plans you got this week to be the ones to work from. Anything prior is obsolete at this point.
Okay.
So Andreas, are you suggesting, are you making a motion to hold a special meeting?
I'm just having a discussion on that. Okay, I just don't want the commission to get into a rock and a hard plate kind of thing. That's what I'm worried, it's happened to me before. That's it. There's no comment whatsoever once the public hearing is closed. And everybody's got to, leave, and it's just us at that point. So that's why we have those special meeting dates, in order to give us enough time that everything gets said in public, and there's no controversy. We're confident in our decision without any doubt. You follow? So that's just, I just throw that out there as a suggestion, as a consensus, and I'll let the rest of the commission decide. You can, Chris, you can talk to the applicant and feel them out. And then you can call a special meeting afterwards if that's going to say, if they're adamant about the 17th, closing the public hearing. Well, then you can send that meeting notice out. But in the meantime, we're getting ready. How does that sound?
All right, so I have a question for you then. If we're going to schedule a special meeting, of this public hearing, how much advance newspaper notice do we have to have? Do you know that?
Well, the public hearing is open technically, right? Until we close.
Yes,
We don't.
right.
I don't think we need to, as long as there's minutes here.
No, you'd have to notify the public of the meeting.
An
I
additional
think,
meeting.
I would think.
We
Was
can't
the
have a
no- was
meeting
the
without public hearing.
question-
We can't have another meeting without the public being notified.
I agree.
Now, tell me
Probably
this,
I'm
was
just guessing
tonight's
5
meeting on
days,
the
but-
paper? Was tonight's meeting advertised in the paper?
That's
No,
a
but
good-
it's
that's a
online
good-
and
That's a
everything.
good question. I know the initial one was, obviously, that's
Right.
statutory. But
Every meeting is online. It's definitely
What's the
public.
qualifier for notice? Does it have to be in the paper, or can it just be noticed on the town website?
I know the first one has to be noticed in the paper, and we did that. I think at this point, to clarify this point, I will check with the town clerk tomorrow.
Has to
Yeah.
go on the bulletin board too, right? The electronic one and the actual physical bill.
Right. And that's easy enough to do. That doesn't require a lot of lead time,
Yeah,
whereas a newspaper ad does.
Public hearing has to be noted in the newspaper. And it's got a new public hearing.
Okay,
So you're safe there, but in terms of if you have a special meeting, It has to be.
That needs to be
Yeah, it needs
noticed.
to be noticed to the public, but
Right.
through, town website, but I mean.
And I don't know how
we
many
can say 40
days.
Hours in advance. or something
Okay.
like that.
2
But I was
days.
getting as much notice as possible, given the fact that, there were some, like you said, they were members of the public, right? But the minute that, yeah, the room, members of the public. So it could be interest from the public.
That gentleman is an employee of Mr. Snow's. Now, there were members of the public at last month's meeting, and I don't see them here tonight. So I'm a little concerned that maybe they didn't know to come this month. And now, so if we have a special meeting, which isn't on the regular schedule, I want to make sure that they're aware that they have the opportunity. Okay.
But Andreas has the most experience.
Mhm.
Right, exactly.
Give his experience maybe a little bit of credence because, he's gone through some wicked situations
Mhm.
before, so. But as you said, maybe if you can call the applicant tomorrow and say, hey, would you be willing if the 17th, whatever, if it's kind of wishy-washy, then I would need to schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, it only
The,
comes into play if he's saying that he wouldn't agree.
He is going to need time to address the report, though. And that's one of the things, like, we couldn't schedule this any sooner than 2 weeks because he's got to
Because they
have,
need time to get to.
he's got to have his
Yeah.
people review this. So there's that balance between how soon we schedule this and their ability to respond to George's report.
So I think it all comes down to how when you feel him out, when you discuss this with him and ask him if he would be willing to grant another extension.
I certainly can ask him, say, hey, listen, this came up in discussion after you left. Are you opposed to the concept of another extension? So,
Right. That would be great.
And if
So-
so, then there will be a special meeting
if he's
if he is opposed to.
If he's
an
opposed to another
extension.
extension, yeah, I would say
And
so.
we have the, if he's supposed to extension, we have the special meeting. Is that what you're saying?
Sounds about right to me.
Okay.
So, if I may, how do
Is
you-
it-
do we need to, how does that get scheduled?
I would do that.
Yeah,
I didn't know if we had to agree to that now.
Yeah.
We voted
frankly,
on
my
that,
staff would
Mr.
do
Ellis,
that, but
Commissioner
yeah.
Ellis. The special meeting dates were voted on in January. So, yeah, so that's scheduled. We reserved the second week, December 3rd is scheduled already in case situations like this come up. So that would be the date. We have 12 alternate days in case we need them. So that's voted on already.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure he can get his responses with Thanksgiving in the way by December 3rd, though. That's my concern. I know if I were
Ask him.
in his position, which I'm much more familiar with than being in this position.
Well, my
Um,
point is that we looked at the stuff. What's our questions, He can come back on the 17th and rebut any questions we may have, that
Okay,
gives him time, what our feelings are, our questions. He has another 2 weeks to respond. I think that would be adequate. He doesn't have to respond right away. It's just a matter of our concerns being addressed based on reading the documentation submitted to the record.
I think that could work. So this puts the burden on you gentlemen and ladies of the commission to do your homework before, let's say, in order to get a 48-hour notice in. What date does December 3rd fall on?
It's a
Let me
Tuesday.
just check that.
probably a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday. So we would have to give him officially notice on the 29th. That's the day after Thanksgiving. And just for the record, town hall's closed that day. So we would actually have to give him notice on the 27th, which is next Wednesday.
But you're
Okay.
still gonna have the discussion with him first.
I will call him in the morning,
Yeah.
just to, as you said, feel him out, see how he feels about the idea.
The only problem is I don't know if that's binding or not, so,
My conversation?
yeah,
It is not.
you know.
I'm not a commissioner.
No, I'm saying, but if you could come back and say, oh, he did agree to it, and then he comes to the meeting and says,
Change my
I
mind.
changed my mind. Again, I agree with you 100%. There's no incentive for him to do that, because if we're unsure, how are we gonna vote when we're unsure?
Correct.
So. All right, well, my opinion, that's the way to go, but. I don't know how Andreas feels
Ask him,
about
let's
it
see
not
how-
making a,
Ask
not,
him and see what he says.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, and then we'll go from there.
All right, very good.
It's an if-then situation, and we'll get to the answer, okay?
I didn't hear you, Andreas.
It's an if-then situation once.
If
Chris
the,
talks to
okay,
applicant.
all right.
Without the else.
Communications.
Okay. We have some things to discuss. First on my list, we held our annual NRCS Connecticut DEP inspection of the Piper Brook Flood Control Project on October 28th. We are going to receive a formal notice at some point from them regarding maintenance cutting of vegetation on the embankments, and some dredging will have to be done in that section. This is the section of Piper Brook from Main Street to West Hartford. And so the sediment pools are beginning to fill up with sediment, so we're gonna have to haul that out. And that's the highlights of that inspection.
But the town, the state does that, right? The town does
No, we
the
do.
dredging?
Yeah,
We do the dredging?
yeah.
Hmm,
Yeah.
we have equipment for that?
No, I hire a contractor for that.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought that was something the state took care of.
They have done it in the past, but the last time they did it, they said, here, it's yours now.
Nice.
Yep, but that's why I have a budget for CIP for dredging. Although I prefer to use it in other parts of town, but that's the way it goes.
That isn't a matter of law. That's just a matter of here, I'm doing it today, you're doing it tomorrow.
I wouldn't say it's a statutory matter of law, but it is a condition of the project, which doesn't carry that weight of you're gonna get a fine, but it's also something that we ignore at our own peril. For the obvious reasons that it's a flood control project, you don't want it silting in. And the other aspect of it that,
If we don't do it.
basically, I need DEP more than DEP needs me.
Sure.
Yeah, it seems like
If
we just-
don't do it and it floods, it's on us.
Yeah, it seems like it was just done just a few years ago, though. I don't know what the interval is supposed to be, but.
I don't think it's a fixed interval. I think we take this walk every fall, and this year the
Look
water.
at it?
Huh?
And they just look at it?
Yeah, yeah. Yep, it takes half a day. Yep,
So we've been cutting and maintaining the growth around it regularly, more
Yes.
regularly, every year,
we,
couple times a year.
certain parts of it we mow twice a year, and other parts of it we have contractors do because our equipment won't do it. As an example, the next part of my statement was, we've just hired a contractor to clear the embankment from Hartford Avenue south along the property of the apartments there, the Newington apartments, about 400 feet. So that was one of the worst areas we identified. So we've already hired a contractor to do that. And as that is obviously an area that is sensitive to this commission, that's why I'm notifying you of this.
And who made the determination on the dredging, though? That, we did it ourselves, or the state was involved with that?
You mean who pointed their finger and said dredge here?
Yeah,
NRCS,
and who was that?
the Natural Resource Conservation Service. It's a federal agency.
It's a federal agency.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We do crossover work with them from time to time. They were the ones who did our last flood study for the Webster Brook, Rockhole Brook area down along the New Britain Berlin line in 2014. And I couldn't find a copy of that. They were gracious enough to send me a PDF copy of it. So we now have that report. It identified areas along the Amtrak Railroad that need to be expanded for hydraulic reasons. Not that that's all that important right now, but yeah, they're a partner of ours. We work with them on things like this. We're also in a climate resiliency grant-funded project with a part of UConn called Circa, and NRCS is a participant in those conversations as well.
And how do they determine it's time to do the dredging? Do they do testing?
Do they
Is
just
it
look
a
at it with a
certain
stick?
amount of years?
It's a highly scientific process of looking at it and go, it's filling in.
Really?
Okay, yeah.
The water level is down this year because we've been in the drought since June, so it was easy to see that we needed to haul some material out of there.
And what is the cost roughly for that?
I haven't got a clue yet.
Oh, you're going out to bid with it?
I'm sure I will because, you know, we, like you mentioned, we don't have equipment for that. You need one of the long handled excavators with the flat faced bucket, you know, the ones I mean.
But it's not the full length of the brook, it's just certain pools or pockets.
Correct. The way that project was designed, there are certain settlement basins that are intended to collect the silt. What happens is you've got a large wide area on the water course. And as this water flows into it, it slows down. Once it slows down, the silt and other suspended solids will settle out. When you accumulate enough of it, they have to haul it out. And there's 2 or 3 of those pools in that stretch there between West Hartford and Main Street.
Thank you.
Okay. Additional town maintenance activities. Town staff mowed the brush in the detention ponds at Beacon Park, Connecticut Avenue at Kirkham, Payne Road. This is the one between Progress and Rockwell, and the Coles Avenue culvert. That's that triple culvert we have that goes under Coles Avenue. I'd like to replace that with a bridge someday. Let's hope I'm here long enough to do that. And then tree cutting of a couple of dead and or dying trees and some pruning of the area along the back of the bus parking garage on Garfield. They've been dropping limbs on the buses and apparently that's expensive. So there's a couple of them they had our arborists look at and they've identified some
You're
of them.
talking about on the pond side or across the street?
Across the street. So the big parking area, the gravel one,
You mentioned garage, so it confused me a little bit.
right, so
Yeah,
on the opposite side there, at the back along, that's the part that's in the upland review area. So there's a couple of trees. They're not gonna stump them. I said, look, you stump them, we gotta do an application.
There's a
So
little
we'll
bit
do
of a bone of contention there because, you know, that area was encroached and never restored. I don't know how we left it with this commission, but, you know, it was town on town, you know, headbutting and it never went anywhere.
I'm familiar in Vegas terms of that. And so not quite ready for an application yet, but since you brought it up, the Board of Ed has approached us about paving that parking lot when we do Garfield Street next year. So Garfield Street's gonna be mill and overlaid. We have a grant from 5 or 6 years ago for what they call community connectivity. So we have to build some sidewalks and change the crosswalks. And a lot of that is quote cosmetic, but it's things we're incorporating into the mill and overlay project and that municipal parking lot where we're going to put the EV charging stations, the one that didn't get replaced after the town hall was built. So we're going to be doing all of that as one project next summer. And so we will have to come in before the commission with an application for the changes to the parking area that are going to be paved and add a water quality device at the stormwater outlet end that goes into the brook there where there is none now. But this is all right now into the, you know, probably in the 40 or 50% design stage. We're putting
Hopefully
together.
we'd have aerial photos and we could see where it was encroached and I'm sure we're not going to approve pavement in an area that was encroached and never restored. So,
Well, we're
my
going to,
own opinion.
Yeah.
It's my own opinion.
we're going to try and pull as much of that back towards the road as we can and still accommodate the bus needs. But one of the advantages to paving this as opposed to that hard packed gravel there is by paving it and creating a swale along the catch basin line that's there
Less
and
sediment.
putting that water into a water quality treatment device like we would if this was a private development, we can clean up more than we are causing trouble in the wetlands by doing that.
Less
Now,
sediment flowing directly into it.
well, you have all of the
Well, it
petroleum
does.
products that leak off the buses that right now are just going into the gravel. So rather than let that continue to happen by putting it onto the pavement and channeling it into the stormwater system that now will have a filter on it, we can clean that up somewhat.
I mean, my own opinion, and I've been preaching about this for years, ultimately, I would love to see those buses go somewhere else and restore the, you know, enlarge that park. And we've had this big debate about the pool and It's caused a lot of division, so I hope they look at a master plan before they go throwing pavement down. But we're far from paving, is that correct?
No, we're looking at next year for pavement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, hopefully we can have some discussions before that, you know.
Is there any?
So we make sure we don't waste money on pavement if we ever are going to move the buses.
Yeah, that's a bigger policy
That's a huge
question
policy,
than,
yeah, that has to be coming from the top.
you're above my pay grade at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, I'm just saying that's my goal. I've always
Yeah.
dreamed of not having the buses on Garfield Street.
Yeah.
So,
You're not alone that way. I hear this a lot, and it's the same sort of thing. I mean, for instance, we're currently doing a feasibility study for the highway garage and the parks garages to see how we can better use those properties. But in none of the stuff that I'm familiar with currently are we talking about a new location for the school buses. So we can either deal with what we're planning on doing this year and deal with the bus locations at another time, or if council chooses, put the brakes on the pavement program and continue status quo, which is not what I would prefer to do. So it's always a chicken or an egg sort of situation here, and whatever we do, somebody will question that later. So we just do what we think is best and go for it. No. And then the last item I've got is at the next regular meeting of this commission, you have to have an election for officers, and we have to set the calendar for the 2025 year. So I understand from Eric that the way it's normally done is a short 15-minute special meeting prior to the regular meeting where the chair and the vice chair are elected and the calendar is agreed to.
and that's done in December?
Yep,
So we'd come in at 6:45.
correct.
I think that's pretty typical.
As I understand it, yes.
Who wants to be chair?
Where's Jeff?
You don't have to discuss
Jeff's
this now.
Jeff's gonna be out for a while.
Still?
He's
Yeah.
really hurt.
Yep.
He's really, really hurt.
This wanders into a question I'd like to ask you. I'll be visiting my sister in Missouri for the 17th, at the time of the 17th meeting.
Okay.
Is there a formal way of notifying the committee that I won't be attending?
I think you just did.
Okay, that worked.
It seems pretty formal.
You could go online if you wanted to, but if you didn't cut into your personal time.
Just send us an email. Just send us an email so we have it in writing with that.
Who do I address the email to?
You can either address it to me as wetlands agent.
Reply back to one of the
Pardon?
other,
Just copy us
you
all.
can reply back to one of the emails you got for notification of the meetings
Yeah,
and just let us know.
okay,
But-
right.
Did you get the email today from?
The ones that I've got, generally seem to be coming from you.
Well, actually, they come from my secretary, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, she's the smart one up there, so,
I could pick one of those and do a reply on it, say, here.
and that'll
I
work.
can be available on.
I'll put it in
17th.
my correspondence for the next month. The only thing I'll mention is if you're interested in being chair or vice chair and you want to share that with your colleagues.
Yeah, I got considerable more learning to do. Sarah.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'm gonna nominate Andreas again. I'll make that nomination now.
Yeah, but then he'll have to come in to the meetings in person.
No, why? Why would
How
you have
does
to?
Andreas feel about
You
that?
can't run a meeting remotely?
My personal opinion, you shouldn't.
That's okay.
gavel.
You can-
I'm allowed to work from home, but that's not right to my staff now, is it? If you're gonna be the leader, you gotta be here.
I'm okay with that.
And that wraps up agent communications. That's all I've got for you.
No disrespect to your.
No,
leadership
I'm,
skills.
That brings us to our town council liaisons. Do you have anything for us?
Do you have any? I'm interested in. One of the things that was brought up kind of as a result of some things that have been happening recently with property on West Hill Road, the Federal House.
Oh, yeah. What happened? They put a fence up and then they took it down and,
Well, these stages, I'm gonna send someone from the historical society.
Excuse me, excuse me, this is Susan Gibbon. Can you please, is Gail at the mic?
Yeah, Gail Draco.
Okay, I'm
Um,
sorry, I can't hear you. Is the mic on?
Oh, there's a button on top of the mic, Gail.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. It's a little bit better, but not that much, but I can hear you better. Thank you.
There was a meeting with the property owner and representatives from the town and the people who are interested in the historical preservation, including Councilor Red and myself. And we just trying to see whether there's any way that it can be preserved. First of all, is it capable of being preserved? Because from the outside, it certainly looks pretty shaky and it's been vacant for a couple years. So the status of it right now in terms of whether it can be preserved, what the costs or whatever, there's an awful lot of unknowns, but at this point, status quo until the state kind of gets a study done and gives us a report.
was this done voluntarily by the owner? Or was he in any way forced into it?
We just had a meeting with them and said,
Okay.
hey, did you know the history of this, we're interested, blah, 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 there's
Yeah.
no forcing. And then the discussion about kneeling the diner, we can see all over Facebook and things. So as a result of the fact that we're realizing that we have, we're losing some of our history in town. I mean, we've lost it over the years, but it's becoming kind of key critical now. There's not a lot left. There's been a discussion of perhaps having a demolition delay ordinance brought into being. But again, this would be a delay ordinance, not a prohibition. Nothing, would just be the fact that there's so much to it. The town planner and I met with the council and we gave him some things that he should look at before we even start drafting ordinance for our review. And the rights of the property owners, what properties should or should not be on this list, whatever. But there would be no punitive damages. It would just be the fact that if and when the criteria comes up and there's a property demolition ordinance comes across the desk, there's an opportunity to meet with say, hey, you know, you do something. Is there a possibility for maintaining or retaining the property? Just gives all parties involved a chance to kind of stop and think, is there a way that we can? Again, this is purely the very beginning discussion stages of even having. So nothing going into effect right now.
I just might ask one question, Gail. Is there any truth that there was like a one-room schoolhouse there? I worked for the former owner a long time ago, and there was this old building on the property, an old structure, and I thought they told me that it was a school, a one-room schoolhouse. You hear these stories in other properties, no? Okay. Yeah, it was like an old shed or a garage or something that was there.
The bus, the bus places on Lord. It's across from.
Some of the other things,
Chicken.
you might be aware of, the community pickleball court is being opening.
Okay.
Off of Woodward.
Yeah.
Inside the building?
between
Inside the
Woodward
building, probably just 6 or 7 courts. I think they have the fire
Over
commissioner
my
has
end
decided
side.
to,
Yeah,
Yeah, going towards.
Fire marshal?
and at this point, they were just, they're planning on just like 6 months. They rented the facility for 6 months, they're gonna see how it goes, and hopefully, you know, we'll be able to talk them into, and hopefully it will take off and talk them into something. Becomes like a year-round facility, and the teaching, you know, summer leagues, whatever.
But that's all private, that's not Parks and Rec involved.
And what was this for? I'm
Those
sorry.
12 courts that are gonna be at the Book Corner Best Market,
Oh, yeah,
they rented it, but for 6 months they
Oh.
used it.
okay.
But the owners are the people who are running this, own apparently very successful at tennis. in Avon or
Pickleball.
other businesses. But
Oh, tennis, really? Okay.
so they have experience, in this type of facility, so hopefully they'll be able to do the work. See. And yet there's gonna be another pickleball court. For Bob's stores. It's like, that's the, every particular Bob's store now is a 6-month pop-up for Stickley Furniture Warehouse. And that's open now, man. That's only gonna be there for 6 months, and then after that. It's another.
More pickleball. Wow.
So,
Gotta try it.
getting over, yeah.
It's tough.
The fire department and along with the child center. Facilities came and they're, they presented a resolution for a request that's create a building committee to 7 fire facilities in town. There was a lot of discussion at the town council, and it was kind of, it has to be reworded a little bit because the word building facility makes it look like all 7 structures are going to be subject to building. So we're going to take it back and reword it a little bit. It's more of the fire department taking a look at all the facilities that they have and kind of prioritizing and doing some cost estimates on what their priority would be in terms of getting, which ones need to have building, which need some innovation. So, but it's a study. It's a study that's needed. They waited in line for some of the. But it's the new town manager who wants. We've got all these structures. So that proposal or resolution. What do you think? The Economic Development Commission is got a new program. It's going to be starting. It's called Passport. They bond and solicited many of the businesses in town, and residents can go and get businesses. You can get it stamped. It's going to be the 2 weeks. And if you get 6 stamps done, you get entry for a prize. 6 additional 6 stamps. So you get $1 gift certificates. It's for businesses in town. The idea, obviously, is to get people to visit businesses they've never been to before. It's going to be open also to visitors from outside. Visitors, they solicited participation from many businesses. So, drawing is going to be at night.
And how do you get a passport?
I think you're going to be able to go to any in business.
Oh, you can get a passport there. Okay.
Then there'll be a drop off.
It's a great idea.
It's their first year, so it's a little bit growing. It's kind of taking place in small business.
Yeah.
It's more businesses. Yeah.
She's looking now. Maybe she didn't quite hear you. Do you have anything, Kim?
I'm looking to see if there's anything else, that Gail had, excuse me, hasn't mentioned. I think for our next meeting, and Chris maybe you'll speak to this, that, we were told that we would be getting a Camp Avenue update in terms of the width of the road itself. We'll
Next
be talking
Tuesday, yes.
about. We'll be talking, an initial conversation about composting. I know several of us have been interested in, having this discussion and talking about, townwide composting. There, I guess improvements are in the works, will be taking place soon on Alumni Road and also the Waterfall Bridge. We know about that. National Welding, has an extension until January of 2025, and then hopefully we will have that confirmed, finalized, and be able to move ahead with that property. And the only
What's
other thing
happening
I
there,
wanted to
Kim?
mention, excuse me?
What's happening at National Weldon?
There's still a question of their finances, and Gail, correct me if I'm wrong, and being able to finalize the sale of the property. So they
Who's trying to
asked for an
buy it?
extension. We're given an extension until January of 2025. And then that
Who's
should
trying to
be
buy it?
finally concluded so we can move ahead with the use of that property. The only other thing is that, and I don't know how we got this. I think it's great. Newington was designated by whom, I don't know, as having the best trails in the US. And Mayor Trister did a walk with, I think, the town manager, and it was video recorded. And I've seen that up on Facebook where he walked one of the trails behind the Humane Society up to the kind of the lookout, the overlook.
But it's not even.
Talking about what you can see as you walk these trails, which I thought was, it's really nice. I ended up taking one of my dogs up there, and he had a great time sniffing all around and looking at everything he could possibly look and sniff at. But for anybody that hasn't taken a walk up those trails, it's really a great place. And it was an interesting designation for Newington. We have the smallest waterfall, and now we have the best trails.
It wasn't Newington that had the best trails in the United States, it was Connecticut. Trails of all 50 states. And then what happened is that each town, there's kind of this informal little challenge among the mayors of taking the best trail in each town. So Jonathan decided on that particular trail, and then he videotaped it, and now he threw out a challenge and to the mayor of Weathersfield and said, okay, show you mine, you show me yours. And yeah, it wasn't doing the whole United States, but it's Connecticut.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
And
I don't know, that was my note, but who knows? It was the end of the meeting, and I think we were all exhausted by then.
where,
Thank you, Gail.
what number West Hill Road is this place that we're trying to preserve?
It's something like 250. It's diagonally opposite the fire station up there.
I think what is it,
North side.
272 or something like that?
it's white and it looks old, but it looks.
It's on the corner of the little side street, which I can't remember the name of.
What is it?
It was
No,
a
there-
house.
Is there a side street there?
There's,
There's like a little cul-de-sac.
Yeah, but it's not on the corner though, I don't think, is it?
best recollection when driving by at some point.
Close to the.
The last item we have is pond life research and education, and Alan is not here. So I guess we won't get that report, but I do want to make a point of introducing you to Keith Anderson, who very graciously attended our meeting tonight. He is in the process of being appointed to fill one of the vacancies on this commission. So you can all say hi to
Welcome.
Keith. Do you want to say anything to anybody, or you just?
So, I don't know if you can hear me on the microphone. Keith Anderson, moved here from Plainville like 7 years ago.
You can have a seat at the front table if you like.
I was on their Wetlands Commission for about 7 years over in Plainville. Professionally, I've been working in the engineering world, close into the building, one of them.
My last employer before you.
My last 14 years, maybe, I'll take that out of me.
Had to work somewhere.
Yeah. Coming into, beginning of this year, it's gonna be CNG, SCG, and Berkshire Gas. Yeah, it's fun to come and see it down here and see the difference between the Plainville one and here.
Well, I was gonna say, what is the difference? Are are they more disciplined than us or no?
We were
Okay.
so laid back.
Oh, okay.
So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome.
So are you being
glad you're here.
appointed at the next town council meeting?
I think so.
Okay. That's just for me, not for the official record or anything, just, no, won't hold you to it is what I'm saying.
And thanks for the maps, by the way.
You're welcome. Unless there's something I'm missing, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Steve or is that John?
Steve.
Steve.
Aye.
Discussion on the motion?
I don't think you can have a discussion on German. It's either yes or no.
Then hold a vote.
Let's hold the vote. Aye.
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 Unanimous.